Because ASNs enable many applications and achieve levels of performance that classical networks cannot, there's a common misconception that ASNs will completely replace classical networks. Beyond this, there's a related misconception that ASNs require a complete overhaul of classical infrastructure. Neither of these things turn out to be the case. Advanced secure networks will enable applications and reach performance that classical networks will never be able to match. However, that doesn't mean ASNs will completely replace classical networks. We will need both types of networks to achieve much greater results than either type of network can achieve on its own. This will be accomplished by using ASNs and classical networks together, sometimes even in hybrid systems. We will go through two examples of what this interoperability and synergy might look like. The graphic on this slide is a schematic for a common message encryption setup that utilizes entanglement-based key generation. Alice and Bob want to communicate their potentially confidential information in a secure manner. They utilize their quantum channel to generate a shared encryption key. This key has information theoretic security, which we defined earlier. This key then is used by classical symmetric encryption schemes such as AES 256 via the encryptors to encrypt and decrypt their messages. As such, we can even consider this setup to be one of the many defense-in-depth hybrid security schemes. Digging deeper into this example that we just gave, even the entanglement-based key generation scheme will typically utilize both quantum and classical communication and techniques. For example, more than half of the steps in BBM92, one of the canonical entanglement-based key generation schemes, are purely classical. Even without counting the classical post-processing techniques, such as information reconciliation and privacy amplification, that are typically employed to generate an even more secure final key. We went through each step of BBM92 in detail in our Advanced Secure Networks 101 webinar, which is available on demand if you want to learn more about that protocol. Beyond just coexisting and synergizing, ASNs and classical networks sometimes have overlap in the infrastructure that they utilize. ASNs are compatible with a lot of existing classical networking infrastructure, such as standard telecom fibers and frequency bands, optical transport network components, and existing encryption devices. Even as ASNs scale, this will continue to be the case. For example, as we continue to transition from exclusively using fiber-based links to also using free space links, we will still be able to use existing classical infrastructure. We won't need to build a special quantum satellite, but rather we can place a quantum router on existing satellites. ASNs do and will not require a complete infrastructure overhaul or upgrade, which makes them easier to build and scale up.